In a world where left is up and right is apparently wrong, do souls make sense of it all? Or at least have fun trying? Gear up, friends, for Chicken and the Dog.
Welcome to another episode of Chicken and the Dog. I am the dog, and with me, as always, is the guy that accepts the responsibility to share his intellect with the world, the chicken. What up, dog?
And you're welcome.
Yeah, and also, normally we have B-dawg, that's kind of behind the scenes, throws his little, yapping in there every now and then, gives us a little take. But we're not going to recap a college SEC football team today. We are going to talk about what's happening this week with the NFL draft. And because mine and the chicken's knowledge is we know college players, but we don't know the needs of NFL teams, and this is something that Bryson is passionate about. So he is going to be doing a lot of running the show for us today. So, Bryson, man, thank you for being willing to share your beautiful knowledge with us.
Absolutely. Couldn't be more excited for Thursday. It's going to be a great Thursday overall. Ready for the first round. Ready for Friday too. Second and third round. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be something, that's for sure. But
yeah, I see y'all are not as excited as I am. It's okay. No, it's okay.
It's all right. But look, man, this is kind of our farewell show to these college players, man.
Absolutely.
We've got to watch you guys play for 3 to 10 years now, depending on who you are. But
super duper seniors.
That's right. So, we got, like I said, we got to watch these guys play, man, all these, these several years. And this is kind of like our farewell to you guys, man. And so we are excited for your next adventure outside of college football. But look, man, I'm going to let you kind of take control of this, Bryson, and me and the chicken are going to jump in when we need to.
Yeah, sure. So I guess we could go ahead and start with, we can go SEC players first. So I know we're a SEC-centric show. We start talking about maybe our top 10 SEC players first, and then maybe we go to everybody else, So I guess we could start off by doing our top 10 with the SEC. First off, who do y'all think was the best player coming into this draft? I know y'all know roughly about who's in it. Who do you guys think is kind of in those top names? And I can kind of go with my top 10 after that.
Nick Imamore. No bias whatsoever.
Are you asking as far as SEC people or just overall?
We'll get to that. We'll get to overall in just a second. Let's do SEC first. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say Malachi Starks from Georgia. I know, but I think he's a stud. 3 years playing in Athens, he learned from the best. If you look at all the defensive players that have come from Kirby Smart over the years that are now in the NFL, a lot of them have just been absolutely dominant. And I think Malachi is going to be no different, if not even maybe a little bit more special.
Yeah, understandable. We'll get to Starks in my list. I think he's top 5, no doubt. Top 4, spoiler alert. But number 1, I definitely, we're going to stay at Georgia. But I got linebacker Jalen Walker. He's going to play a little bit of inside linebacker, a little bit of hybrid. And right now, looks like he's projected in most mock drafts to go 8 to the Panthers. Mm-hmm. So I would fit pretty well in that squad. And I think he's a dog, obviously.
Staying close to home, too.
The last time the Panthers had a linebacker from Georgia, they did pretty well with Thomas Davis.
Heck yeah. Yeah. they are in desperate need of a linebacker. Last year, they allowed the most points in NFL history. So that defense is struggling bad, very bad,
Wow.
very trash. But my number two guy, we got Will Campbell, LSU tackle. He really didn't allow many sacks at all. I think he may have only allowed one, really. But I got two tackles up on the top, 2 to 3 here in the SEC. Will Campbell at my 2 overall spot in the SEC out of LSU, and then we got Armand Mimbu, who is just an athletic specimen out of Missouri. He's going to be that number 3 spot. He carried the line there for Missouri this year, but overall the offense was pretty poor.
Eli.
The dark one.
Yeah.
Yep. Did y'all get the chance to watch any of Mimbu last year?
I watched us beat him.
Yeah. I remember watching some of his game. He's good. He's very talented. It's very unfortunate that he played at Mizzou, but he would have been much better at Georgia or Carolina or
anywhere other than Missouri.
Yeah. So the only other school that he wouldn't have done worse at would have been the Fighting Prophylactics. So
this is true.
Yeah.
They do not have a guy in this draft. They do not have a top guy in this draft. First time in a while. USC is struggling.
Yeah.
Comes with it. But number 4, that is where I have your guy. That's where I have Malachi. Now, he's not going to be one of those top 4 picks in the actual draft, or maybe not even top 15, but that's just simply due to positional need at the end of the day. But just looking at the straight prospect, that kid is, the smartest guy on the field, and he is going to be able to cover zone, man, whatever they need for him to cover there at the NFL level, especially with those tighter hash marks. He's going to be awesome.
Where do you think he's going to go?
Pick wise or just team?
The team he's going to go.
Team. So they're in the back of the first, I think is where he's going to end up landing, maybe mid first to late first. You got teams like, I know Kuiper has him at Tampa Bay at 19. I think Seahawks at 18 could happen. Let's see who else is there. Let's see. I think even he can go as early as 17 to the Bengals. That would be awesome. But more than likely, I think he's going to end up landing somewhere around 24 to the Vikings or 27 to the Ravens. I think is where kind of the range. So he hopefully, he falls, not too far because, the earlier he gets picked, the more money he's going to be making. But the later he goes, then the better team theoretically. So he should be able to contribute pretty quickly on a contending team.
All right.
Yeah. But moving on to my number 5 guy. I promise you I'm not biased here, but we do have Michael Williams here. He is going to be, we got 3 out of the top 5 guys. Michael is going to go top 15, top 20. He's top 3 to 5 edge in this class. I have him right next to James Pierce and Shamar Stewart, who are my 6 and 7. You got Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, and then you have James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. All 3 of these guys are they're gonna make a difference on the field at the next level. Did y'all watch any of those games last year? You see Shamar? He was pretty awesome. He only had 2.5 sacks last year, but similar to like a Trayvon Walker, didn't have crazy amount of sack production, but he will succeed.
You knew who had crazy sacks last year? Kyle Kennard.
Kennard
did play well. I don't have him in my top 10, but he is going to be a nice piece. I think he's going to step into a depth role at first, but I do think he can progress his way up to the starting position. Yep. But yeah, I got those guys. All those I got a run of edges 5, 6, and 7, and then I got 2 Texas guys at 8 and 9, and that's Kelvin Banks. He's the tackle. He's pretty athletic. See him going kind of mid to late first as well. And then we got Matthew Golden out of Texas as well. Speedster receiver. He had the top 40-yard dash last year, or this year, at a 4.29. Ran a 4.29 at the combine.
How tall is he?
I think he's like 6 foot flat. I can confirm real quick, but I think he's about 6 foot.
Yeah, I mean he is definitely a stud wide receiver. There's no doubt about that.
They have him listed at 5'11".
5'11".
But yeah, right after Isaiah Bond starts talking all this smack about breaking the record, he ends up running like a 4.39, I think, and his teammate waxes him, runs a 4.29 at the 40.
So I guess he's projected as the first wide receiver to go, right?
I don't think so. I don't think he's the number one receiver in the class. He's the best receiver out of the SEC in this class, though.
Travis Hunter, I guess, is technically.
Technically, I would still put Ted McMillan out of Arizona over him. He's 6'5", can run as fast as most receivers. Like he's a speedster as well. But he's 6'5" and can go up there and get the ball. So he's kind of that Drake London type of receiver. Talking about USC earlier. Mm-hmm. He's more of that Drake London, that Mike Evans out of is A&M with Manziel. Yeah. That's the type of receiver he is, and that's the type of receiver I'd want on my team.
Now, when you said USC, who were you referring to?
Prophylactics.
Okay, because we don't say USC on this show. We only say the prophylactics.
My bad. Yeah, I got you. But I guess we're talking about the real USC now. At number 10, I got Nick Immanwori, and that's finally where he lands, I think.
It's about time.
I think that kid's going to be awesome. I think all these 10 guys are going to be great, or good at least. But Immanwori has a real shot to be a guy.
He's a special.
He's a guy.
Yeah.
Well, not like Caleb Williams, as we discovered that earlier.
Right.
But we won't go there.
No, he's a dude. Immanwori was without a doubt the heartbeat or one of the heartbeats of the Carolina defense last year. Set the tone in a lot of those games, and I mean he's going to bring that to the NFL to an NFL defense out there. I think they're looking at Tampa right now as the last I'd seen. And Tampa is always really good when they've got a solid defense. When they base their play on a solid defense, that's where you see championships coming out of the Bucs.
They really need some DB help, and he would definitely relieve some of. I think he'd be next to is it Antoine Winfield? I think he's the other safety in that backfield. But I do have a couple honorable mentions before we go over to just the overall top 10, and this is where we'll talk about our Abdul Carters, our Ashton Genties. We'll talk about them in just a second. But honorable mention number 1, he didn't have a great year this year, but I do think he's quite the receiving prospect, and we got Luther Burden out of Missouri as well. I know y'all probably remember him more from the 2023 season, arguably the best receiver in college football then, outside of your Marvin Harrison Jr.'s and neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr.
He is a really, really good receiver.
Yeah. He's going to play your slot. He's going to play your X, and he really can play any position. But I think he'll mainly be a slot guy at the next level. Yep. And then we got one Ole Miss guy here for your man.
My man.
How you doing?
Yes.
And then we got Walter Nolan, defensive tackle.
Oh,
Absolute beast. He D tackles don't, outside of a guy we're about to talk about in just a second, defensive tackles, unless you're elite, you usually don't get drafted crazy high. But Walter Nolan could end up going, late first, early second, that type of area. But he's going to be really good.
When you said Ole Miss, I thought you were going to go with Jackson Dart.
Nah, yeah, I don't have him. I don't got him in my top. I don't have any quarterback out of the SEC, and there really is only one or two that we could talk about, but I don't have him close to the top 15.
Jackson Dart with his long, flowy hair.
Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
That's what he tries to be. But yeah, I got Walter Nolan at my second honorable mention spot. He's going to be really good. I've seen a lot of mocks of him landing at pick 32 to the Eagles, and that's going to be a mess. I'll tell you that if he falls down there. But then my last honorable mention spot, we got the one Alabama player, which is surprising. Usually they got a couple in this list, but Tyler Booker, he's a guard on their offensive line. He played really good last year, and he'll be a late first or early second type of guy. So really good. But yeah, transitioning over to just my top 10 guys. This is where we can start talking, more about how they played and really who they are. We got Travis Hunter at my number one spot overall.
Really?
That's your number one spot.
That's my number one spot.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. I would not have
controversial.
Come on.
Yes.
Bring it.
Don't like it.
Wow.
I don't think he's a bad player. Don't get me wrong. I mean, actually, I argued. I was happy that he won the Heisman. I know me and the chicken went back and forth on who we thought should be the Heisman Trophy winner, right? But Travis Hunter played both sides of the ball, and he played them both sides very well. So I think he's a stud. But the number one in the draft, the best player in the draft, I don't think there is anyone.
Let's just ask this: what do you base that on? When you're looking and making that decision? What is your criteria to base? This is my guy, the top prospect out of all the guys.
Well, I think truly only the top 4 guys in this class are truly elite prospects. I think this is kind of a weaker class comparative to others. I mean, you have Marvin Harrison Jr. in this class.
Don't judge us by those comments, guys. No, I'm just playing.
If you have Marvin Harrison Jr. in this class, if you have Jaden Daniels in this class, if you have Malik Neighbors in this class, if you have Joe Alt in this class, Joe Alt out of Notre Dame last year, if you had those guys in this class, they would be hands down the best player. Hands down. But I'm kind of basing this off of, we got 4 to 5 elite players, and the rest are going to be kind of your good players, I guess. I know it's kind of hard to hear. Usually every guy in that top 10 is elite, but simply they're not in this year. This year is kind of the weaker class outside of, your running back and defensive line position is completely stacked.
Now let's talk about let's quantify what you're calling elite. So when a player's coming out of high school, right, to a college, they got stars. And a 5-star is really nothing special other than you're a 4-star, but if they could draft you today, chances are a team would, right? Like that's your 5-star. So when you're talking about elite versus good NFL prospect, where is your line of demarcation for a future Hall of Famer? Is it, well, if you're an elite draft pick, I think that you're probably a future Hall of Famer, or no, there are still some good players in there that are probably future Hall of Famers as well?
Yeah, I would say simply, if you're an elite guy, I expect you to have a great chance at becoming a Hall of Famer. And I only think there's 4 or 5 guys this year.
And who are those 4 or 5 guys?
So my top 5 in order: Travis Hunter at 1, Abdul Carter at 2, Ashton Jeanty at 3. I got Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, at 4. And then I got Tyler Warren, the tight end, at 5.
Wow.
State.
Wow.
Yep. We got 5 guys that I think truly can be elite. Now, can my 6, Jalen Walker, can my 7, Armand Mimbu, can they move up? Absolutely. But as of right now, with what it stands, I don't see them becoming, high upside Hall of Famers. I think they're going to be great players, and that's why they're in the top 10. But I don't think that they're more than likely than not to be a Hall of Famer. I think pretty easily, I know everybody knows what Jeanty did this season for Boise State. That guy can be in Hall of Famer. Travis Hunter, if he truly plays the role that he thinks he can, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. If he plays just receiver, he'll be a top 5 to 7 receiver in the league. That's a Hall of Fame position, depending on, all pros and whatnot. But Abdul Carter, he played his first year of defensive end last year, and he was 2nd or 3rd in the nation in sacks. that is Hall of Fame material. So I think also Mason Graham, out of Michigan, he's him and Abdul Carter are my only two elite prospects on the defensive line. Mason Graham can also be a unit. I mean, right now I think most guys have him mocked to the Jaguars at 5. And you place him next to Trayvon Walker, I'm telling you, it's over for opposing AFC South teams. Stroud's gonna have fun running away from those boys for sure.
So you don't see a Will Howard or a Jackson Dart having the type of career, because this is a flatter draft class, especially with quarterbacks.
Yep.
You don't see either one of them maybe landing with the right organization and having the type of career that could get them into Hall of Fame position.
As it stands, I think there's a little to no shot for Will Howard to see a starting role in his career.
Wow.
He would have to land in a perfect spot, and the starter would have to get hurt.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I think Will Howard's a cool quarterback. I think there is a couple other guys that could have taken them that far as well.
Wow. Okay. And from the Lane train, Jackson Dart, you see similar things with his outcome, or do you think somebody makes that gamble of, hey, this guy was an SEC starter for 2 years. Let's give him a run now that QB1's out. Spencer Rattler had some starts last year for the Saints because Derek Carr went down. Do you see Jackson Dart getting any opportunities in the next level?
I think Dart has a much higher chance than both Will Howard and Rattler. I think right now they're talking about 21 for the Steelers, pick 21. But I also see teams that are at the beginning of that second round, like the Browns, the Giants, the Raiders. If they don't end up getting, a Shador early on, I do think they can move up into the first, get him, or maybe let him fall. But it'd have to be a perfect fit for him to have a chance at being a Hall of Famer. He'd have to be perfect.
I reached out to a buddy of mine that is an NFL guy. And he studies these drafts, and we call him Peepaw. And he actually believes that Will Howard could be the next Tom Brady. He said, he's got the size, he's got the arm strength, and he was quicker to release, kind of like what kept Brady. What made Brady so good for so long was he didn't keep the ball very long. He got rid of it quickly. He made a decision, and he did it, right, and that kept him healthy, and he did it better than anyone could ever do it. In my opinion, as far as an NFL quarterback, and he's got the rings to prove that. But he said there's rumors going around that Will Howard is kind of doing that Brady thing, like, I'm going to punish every team that picks a quarterback other than me that's before him. So the team that picks a Cam Ward, the team that picks a Shador, whoever, Jackson Dart or whatever, he said, I'm going to punish him. And that's kind of like the mindset that Brady had. I don't know if that to be true. I know I saw Will Howard play last year at Ohio State. And I watched him play through the playoffs. He was the difference maker in winning that national championship. So he could be a stud in the NFL.
Did Tom Brady come in with that chip on his shoulder in the draft? I mean, have you seen pictures of him at the – he's the most pathetic looking specimen going into the combine that year. He gets picked up, the 6th round, 199th overall pick is Tom Brady. I've seen the photos where he's standing. Look, here I am. If I'm that guy, I'm coming into the league with the most thankful heart on the planet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll help with the team newsletter. I'll pick up towels, whatever I got to do to stay on the team. I'll do it, shy of compromising my morals, right? But I'm not the guy at 199th that comes in saying, I'm going to prove you all wrong.
I'm just taking the advice of people. I mean, when Tom Brady came in the league, I was 3 years old.
Peepaw is not to be trusted for many things. I will remind you that he does not like any cooked egg dish, but loves French toast.
Yes.
The math ain't mathin'.
That ain't mathin'. That's right.
That's not math.
But we have to remember what happened. What had to happen for Brady to get a shot? Who was there for the Patriots above him? We had Drew Bledsoe, and he had to go down.
Yep.
And so that's why I say, does Will Howard have a sub-zero chance of making it? No, but things are going to have to happen for him to get into there.
Who had to go down? But my point is, right, the Tom Brady that came into the league, who had to go down for him to get the number 2 job? That's what I want to know.
I think he may have not came in initially as
QB2?
QB2. I think maybe a year went by and he went up to QB2 and then Bledsoe got hurt. And I'm not exactly sure. But my point is things had to happen for Brady to become Brady. And
sure.
No doubt I think most of his development was long after he was drafted.
That's my point. I know that he played with that edge that Dawg you're talking about. Jordan played with that edge. Guys like that look for a reason to make you their enemy because they're going to go out there and they're not just going to compete to win. They're going to go out there to dominate you. I don't look at Tom Brady, former Michigan quarterback, hoping for a place to land in the NFL as that guy. This dude looks like, please don't kill me. That's what this dude looks like. So for Will Howard, and I've seen the interviews where Will Howard is taking that position of, if you don't pick me, I'm going to make you regret it. I've heard the quotes. I've seen the interviews. To me, you're a better prospect if your attitude is, I'm going to get in the league and I'm going to work my tail off to be the best quarterback that I can be. And if you regret it, cool. I'm going to play to make you regret it. I guess it's a different approach, coming at it from a work ethic versus coming at it from making you feel like a moron.
Yeah, and if we were drafting based on intangibles, Will Howard's going to be there. But we're drafting on what they did on the field, and no doubt Will Howard did a lot. But look at what he had around him. He had 2 running backs that will go day 2 in the NFL, which for the RB position is huge. If you're a round 2 or round 3 guy, you're likely a starter, or if not, going to be the starter next year.
I mean, he did have one of the most expensive teams in college football.
Right, and then you have a first round tackle. You have Josh Simmons. You have the future overall 1 pick potentially with Jeremiah Smith. And then you also have another late first or early first receiver with Ibuka. So you have a stacked roster around that guy. And that's why I say no doubt Will Howard made some great plays down the stretch. But I mean, look what Stetson had those 2 years. We had some crazy talent, but we're not calling Stetson, top 3 quarterback in that class.
Oh, Stetson's going to the Hall of Fame.
In the NFL?
For rehab attendance.
Oh, easy. We don't know.
That he's back? We don't know that he's back.
Oh. I did see one of these drafts, man, where it said that somebody, the Rams are projected, hang on a second, there's projected to take a quarterback.
Because you don't know whether or not Stetson's going to be there. He might have, other things to do. It could be that he's got to go to one of his grandkids' birthday parties. You never know with Stetson.
Yeah.
I can't play this weekend, guys. My granddaughter's turning 15.
Bo Nix and him were the same age coming out of college.
That is just very, very sad.
Well, Bo Nix is awesome.
Very sad.
But yeah, if we want to finish this little segment about my top 10, I got Travis Hunter 1, Abdul Carter 2, Ashton Jeanty 3. You want to talk some Ashton Jeanty?
Oh,
Who doesn't?
Not me.
There
I
you
would
go.
love to talk about him.
Please.
I think you know, you got a high upside pick of he could, you know, if the Patriots really, really want him, which I don't think is a smart pick, they could go for. He could go for. But I do think realistically he lands at either 6, the Raiders, or 10, the Bears. So he walks into Pete Carroll and becomes the Marshawn Lynch for that team. That would be awesome. Or he walks in with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and company, takes over Chicago there at pick 10, where DeAndre Swift is currently.
Hey, who is the Raiders quarterback?
Geno Smith. They traded a second-round pick for him from the Seahawks. He's from the
Okay.
Seahawks.
So you got Geno Smith, you got Brock Bowers is there, and you add an Ashton Jeanty. Could be pretty nasty.
Yeah, make a lot of bets in Las Vegas on that one.
Right.
I think it would be awesome. I think he's, you know, I've never seen contact balance like he has. I have been studying film for 2 or 3 years now. I haven't scouted a running back that good. I think Bijan Robinson's in that tier. I think there's one running back I can say for certain that in my lifetime I have seen that is better than him, and that is Saquon Barkley at Penn State. He was certainly better. But other than that, I think the next tier is your Bijan Robinsons, your prime Todd Gurley's, your Jeanties, and then also
Scatterboo.
Scatterboo.
we love Scatterboo.
And I love his name.
He's going to be really good. I don't think he'll be a top 3 or 4 running back out of this class, but he certainly could be the best receiving back out of this class. So
If Scatterboo would have been healthy in that playoff game, they'd have beat Texas.
I love the fact that his mom said he would put on his brother's equipment when he was a kid and run into telephone poles.
I don't know if that's smart.
It got him to where he is, didn't it?
I guess so. You know, I really hope that Ashton Jeanty is an elite stud player that can have an amazing 3 or 4 years in the NFL. I mean, running backs just don't last anymore in the NFL. They just don't. Chicken, remind me, but you and I were talking about Ashton Jeanty at one point this last season, and I think you referenced him like Saquon Barkley, kind of ish.
Yep.
You did.
Yep.
I think he has the potential to do well. I'm going to be a big fan of his. Not that it's not going to make me watch NFL all the time, but I'm going to really be rooting for this guy because he was just kind of a humble guy, man. You didn't see him. He just didn't make a whole lot of headlines other than with his feet.
Yeah, and I'll defer to B-Dawg just for the projection in the NFL and his career there. But I do see a lot of similarities between him and Saquon. You mentioned the fact that they both go and do their jobs, right? Like Saquon at Penn State, Saquon when he was with the Giants, Saquon when he went over to the Philadelphia Eagles this past year. He just shows up and he does his job. He lets his work speak for him. He doesn't let his mouth run. Right? He can take a hit like most backs in the NFL can't. He's got speed. He's got agility. And I look at Ashton Jeanty and I see all of those same things. I see a kid that he puts his helmet on, he laces up his cleats, and he goes to work. It didn't matter that he was the number one option on offense for Boise State this year. He just went to work and he exceeded expectations every time.
Yeah, man, it does seem like his intangibles are that of a Saquon or that of a Christian McCaffrey, that type of guy. He's gonna stay put and just work.
Yep.
I'm very excited for his career. I am.
You know, and a lot of people's argument could always be, well, you know, he was at Boise State, he's Mountain West. Of course he's going to look good. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that early in the season they played Oregon, almost beat them,
Mhm.
and he lit it up against Dan Lanning's defense. So,
If I'm not mistaken, 197 yards and 2 touchdowns.
yeah,
Yep.
the dude can run, man. He can run, and I think he can run against any team. So, I think he's going to be good.
And one of the most impressive things is last year, I think he only had about 150 to 180 receiving yards, if I'm not mistaken. And if you look at that offense, if you're averaging 9 to 11 yards per carry, you're not gonna go out there and run routes.
Right.
So they ended up just pounding the rock with him. But if you go back and look at 2023, not many people know this. He led the nation in receiving yards as a running back, which is just nasty work. So.
Yeah, but they had a quarterback. Boise had a quarterback in 2023 that could sling it. I don't think they had that last year.
I don't think so as well. But I mean, when it comes down to just like attempt metrics, he had many more attempts last year because they realized this year, hey, we don't need you for that at all. Just run the ball, and we saw what happened there. I mean, he started off the season against Georgia Southern, had 6 rushing touchdowns. So.
I would have been happy if he would have won the Heisman too.
I think he should have. I mean, come on, man. We're 60 yards away from Barry Sanders' record. That's ridiculous.
Which brings us to Rocket Sanders.
Hey, I hope he does well. I think he's going to be a 4th round or 5th, 6th round type of guy. We'll see what happens.
Do you think he'll do well in the NFL?
Running backs, with how you touched on this earlier, just how low their shelf life is. I think he could. I really do. I think in any other class, like right now, I think people have him in that 18 to 22 RB range. But in any other class, man, I'm telling you, he's a top 15 guy. But this class is just unbelievably deep with the running backs. This is such a good running back class. But yeah, moving over, we already touched on Mason Graham a little bit, but number 5, I got Tyler Warren. Did y'all watch any Penn State games? Did y'all see that guy moving out in the Wildcat?
He has got some talent.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I fear that many teams think they're going to get a Brock Bowers this year, though. That's my problem with them.
Right.
I think a lot of teams are assuming, hey, look at the Raiders. Look what they did with Brock last year. Let's try to get that guy. He is not that guy.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen a Brock Bowers in a long, long time at that tight end position.
Well, in college, they've come and gone, right? Like you had Hayden Hurst at the University of South Carolina that on a college level was amazing. Now, Brock Bowers was better at Georgia than Hayden even was during his time at South Carolina, and Brock has done great things so far in the NFL. But I think that once you get that taste, once you see a player like that out there, then suddenly everybody is starving for that exact type of a player. We all want the next Michael Jordan. So, and I think that's what's happening right now at the tight end position is that they're seeing some of these tight ends that can get out there and do different things. They don't have to just be the big guy on the end of the line that can catch. He's also the guy that can run some wide receiver routes, right? Because he's big, strong, and he's fast. And that's what they're seeing with these guys. And they want the Tyler Warrens of the world to fit into that next spot and be their highlight player.
I was trying to think of, like a great tight end over the time. And Jason Witten, you've got Tony Gonzalez. I mean, I don't know if anybody really ever did it better than him. And
Gronk.
Yeah. Aaron Hernandez. Well,
I mean, I think we have to. I know his career hasn't panned out the way Falcons fans wanted, but Kyle Pitts was awesome. I think Vernon Davis was great. You got even Shannon Sharp had a great college career.
Yep.
Kyle Pitts, man, at Florida was stupid.
Oh yeah. Do you remember that hit, that Lewis scene?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I gotta play that. I'm gonna play it right now. But Kellen Winslow as well. Great back in the 70s. So
for sure.
Or Kellen Winslow Jr. At Miami, he was amazing. during his time there. Didn't play that way in the NFL when he got there, but yeah, during his, I remember, I'm a soldier. You're a football player.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not a soldier unless you sign on that dotted line, Jack.
That's right. Different helmet.
Way different helmet. One of them will deter bullets.
This is true.
Yeah. At number 6, we already talked about him. I got Jalen Walker. We already talked about 7, Harmon Membu as well. But number 8, y'all may remember this guy from the Michigan run, Will Johnson, their corner, lockdown.
Yep.
He's going to be awesome. Then we talked about Will Campbell at 9, Malachi Starks at 10. And then here's kind of the 2 other names we could talk about. Arizona's Ted McMillan. I know I mentioned him earlier as well. He's going to be awesome. He's going to be really good. I think most mocks that I've seen have him going 12 to the Cowboys. So you match him with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's going to eat up. But are you a Cowboys guy?
I thought he was going to finally say Scatterboo.
Scatterboo might be a top 100 prospect.
I used to be a Cowboys guy back in the day, and I got tired of Jerry Jones and his antics. And then I've said this on the show before. When my dad was in the military, he was a retired officer, warrant officer, and we lived in the Augusta, Georgia area in the early 80s in the time of Herschel Walker, right? And that's kind of when I kind of started to follow college football a little bit. And then I moved to Texas and whatever, and I was a Cowboys fan and blah, blah, blah. And then when I moved back here in 2008 is when I really just kind of ditched the NFL and focused on college. But yeah.
All this talk of the Cowboys has brought me to our chicken scratch moment.
Oh.
Brought to you by OTC Kennels. OTC Kennels on Facebook and Instagram. Here we go.
Do we need a drum roll?
No drum roll. No drum roll. Just something to ponder. Let it marinate. I know, Bryson, you'll probably have a response, and that's fine. The question is Jerry Jones akin to football what Joe Biden is to politics, and he is so mentally lost that he will make a trade, make a deal that will see Dak Prescott get paid bukulos of money to leave Dallas so that Shadur Sanders can come into the Star and bring his daddy with him to coach the Cowboys. Talk amongst yourselves.
I'm gonna let you go, Dawg.
Oh, okay.
What you got?
I'm going to bring up Peepaw again because that was a conversation that I had with him today, or he had. Let's just say he had with me, and he believes that there's a very good chance that because he said that Deion is on record saying that the only way he would ever coach in the NFL is if he was going to coach his son. And so he thinks that there's a good chance that Shadur could end up as a Cowboy just to get Deion as their coach. Now, would Deion Sanders be a good NFL coach? Potentially. Because of the hype and everything that comes with him, I think that's a lot of why I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a decent coach, but I think his ego carries him as a head coach. And so I think he could do well with the Cowboys and his ego. And so I don't think that's, if there's any team that's going to try to do both of those, it's going to be the Cowboys.
I'd agree with that for sure. If it's going to be any delusional team, it's going to be the Cowboys. I don't see a way in the world that the Cowboys fans don't riot after that if this were to go down. in this hypothetical, but
Is Jerry Jones delusional enough to do it, though?
100%.
Oh, all right.
Absolutely.
So he is the Joe Biden of the NFL.
Yes.
I guess so.
All right.
I think he might be able to form a sentence, though. I'm not sure. Maybe not.
You know, you said you don't know if Cowboy fans would be happy about that. I think a lot of Cowboy fans would welcome. I don't think they're, and I've got brothers that are Cowboys fans, right? I got two of my brothers are big Cowboys fans. They are not high on Dak Prescott. But I do believe that there's a lot of people that would welcome a Deion Sanders as their head coach, and a new quarterback. I do.
I think it would be cool. I don't know. I think Dak is just I don't think Dak's a elite NFL quarterback, but I think he's a really good one. And I don't think Sanders is going to be as good as Dak is right now.
No, okay.
I mean, I think he led
I agree with that.
passing yards in 2023. I mean, that's pretty huge. I think he had some injuries last year that held him back, but 2023, I think he led the league in passing yards. So that's something to consider. I mean, you don't just make this type of like organizational monumental shift unless you have a bad quarterback. I could see it if they had, who just came. I guess Will Levis, for the Titans. If they had Will Levis, I totally see this type of switch. Let's go make a move for Sanders, both of them, I guess. But I think it would be rough to justify with the position they're in right now.
Maybe so. The chicken and I have had a discussion, over the last several months, and we talk about his chicken scratch thoughts, and I love it. And we actually thought about, like a dog bite moment. How can we have like a dog bite segment and so forth and so on? And I just thought about it. So the dog bite.
Well,
I know the first one.
Time.
You ready? Here we go. This will take a drum roll. This takes a drum roll.
Okay, I got you.
Oh, should we get some type of...
All right. The very first dog bite is this. Who is going to be the biggest bust in this class? I'm going to start.
Do we all get to go?
Yes. Yes. This is an all participant question.
See, I feel like we could start talking, scenarios, but this might be a better question for the mini segment we do post draft once we know where they land. Because if Sanders goes top 3, I'm picking Sanders.
Oh, I'm picking Sanders. I don't care where he goes, and the only reason I say that, poor guy. I don't. That's not a personal affront to him. He's got the most famous father in college football. I know that he shares some of the same primetime genetics, and he wants to get out there and promote, and he wants to be bigger than the sport. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but there's so much hype around him right now. Oh, he's the best quarterback in the draft. Well, maybe he's not the best. He's the third best. Well, there's so much noise going on around this guy right now that I don't see it. I don't see it. You threw the ball well. He wasn't a bad quarterback in college, but he played in the Big 12. He didn't face anywhere near the type of defenses that he's going to face. He came out of Jackson State to Colorado, and those were the type of defenses that he was facing as a quarterback. And now we're going to project that he's going to be just something super special in the NFL. I think that regardless, and this doesn't mean that he would be a bad quarterback in the NFL. I just feel like he's coming in with way too much hype behind him right now, having never played a down of professional football.
Mm.
I like that. I have 2 names that are just screaming out to me on my top 10 list, and I'm going to go with the top 10 guy if we're talking bust, right? this is going to be tough to say because I'm not very confident in this. Because I like this class a lot. Abdul Carter played his first year of defensive end last year. What if? What if it doesn't pan out? That's kind of the name that screams at me now. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But I do think, if he's not an all-pro caliber guy, then that's a bust because he's going top 3, right? Or hypothetically. And then, if we want to go a little bit deeper into the draft, I'm not super, I was a little biased earlier. I'll be anti-biased now. I think Mykel Williams might not be that guy. There's a chance.
Wow.
We'll see. Hey, we crossed paths one time. I said hello. He didn't say hey back. So this is my get back. There we go.
There you go.
All
It
right.
pays to say hello.
Yeah. And now you're not, on my show as a non-bustable player. Now he's going to be a bust.
There you go.
See, my bust is kind of similar to the Chickens. This guy also came from Jackson State. He also went to go play for Colorado. But I think it could be Travis Hunter. I do. And here's my reasoning. Is because I think that I think that he's going to struggle finding his place going to a team that's going to only want to use him primarily on one position of the ball. And I think that his ego, and he rightfully so has an ego, I do think he was one of the best college football players. I was glad that he won the Heisman. It could have been him or Genty. There's no doubt about that. And when he won, I was like, good job. That was a good pick. He deserved it. He was a stud, both sides of the ball. But I think he's going to struggle with that. And I think there's too much hype around Travis Hunter. And I think he will be an NFL bust.
What's a bust for him, though?
I don't think that we will be saying Travis Hunter's name in 3 or 4 years as being a top guy in the NFL. I don't.
Man.
I don't. Because I don't think he has a true identity. That's what I'm saying. That's what I think his problem is. He doesn't have a true identity, whether he's a defensive guy or an offensive guy. Deion Sanders had a true identity. He was a defensive guy. No doubt about it. That was his primary. Offense, they threw him in there because of his speed, and he did have good hands, but he was not a receiver. If he'd have went in the league just as a receiver, would he have been a top 5 receiver in the league every year? No, he would not have. No. But they liked him for his speed. The only person that I think that we've ever had the privilege, and unfortunately we didn't get to see him, is to really be a stud on both ends of the ball, would have been a stud in pro, or could have played both sides. I mean, the best athletic person to ever play the game was probably Bo Jackson. And just an all-around incredible athlete. Travis Hunter is no Bo Jackson. Travis Hunter, I think, has an identity crisis on his hands, whether what position he wants to play. That's my take.
I think that Travis Hunter stands a better chance of not being a bust because, like Deion, he's a multi-tool guy. If he can't find his way on the defensive side of the ball, he's still got offense. If he can't find his way on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball, I see him as a threat in the return game somehow.
Look at Devin Hester.
Similar. I don't know if he's as fast as a Devin Hester. Certainly not as fast, I don't think, as Deion was. But, that was another tool that Deion brought to the game as well, was his ability as a returner. Mm-hmm. So I see Travis as having just more than one tool in his attack to the game of professional football. Something else that he can go to and say, well, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. That'll just at least prevent him from being a bust. Again, the reason I think that Shedeur, for me, is that bust is because I don't think he'll ever be able to live up to the hype. Even if he's a good quarterback, even if he has a few years of success, maybe even gets his team to the playoffs once or twice, I still don't think that he's going to be able to live up to the hype, and he is a one-tool guy.
That's a good take.
It's my take. Of course it is.
If you pick a punt returner at number 2, number 3 overall, it's a bust for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I definitely see your point. I think, we touched on this a little bit already, but I think he's going to be a good player. I think the best thing for him is to commit to receiver, though.
I agree.
Oh, I do too. I think his best Travis Hunter's best move is to go the receiver route. Stick with that. Become an expert in that. Because yes, although he's a great receiver, he was a great receiver in college, he hasn't made it to the pros yet, man. You're talking about the freak of the freaks. Any football, college or pro athlete, that's especially D1, you're a freak anyway. Now you're going to the freak of the freaks. And he needs to stick. I think if he wants to be successful, if he doesn't want to be a bust, he needs to stick with one position. So
I like that.
That's my take. What else? What else we got, guys?
We can go by. You said you wanted to talk about all these quarterbacks.
Yeah, let's just go there. I mean, because quarterback's always that strong. And look, we're getting close to running out of time. But just really fast, I just kind of want to run down what CBS Sports has as their top quarterbacks, top 10 quarterbacks. Cam Ward, number 1. B says that's a lock. He's going first. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Then you got the chicken's favorite quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur. And then Jackson Dart. Next, they've got him kind of going to the Steelers, but they said he's going to be a late first round. Then Tyler, how do you say his last name?
I believe it's pronounced Shuck, but it certainly sounds like Shuh. So it looks
that
like
guy from Louisville.
Tyler.
From Louisville. I mean, Louisville was pretty good last year. This guy carried him. There's no doubt about that. And then we have old Small Hands.
Small hands.
We have Jalen Milroe. Is projected to go in the second round to the Jets. Him and Benny.
Ew.
Him
and Fields.
Yeah. And then they've got Will Howard going to the Colts in the third, and then Kyle McCord from Syracuse. And he was really good at Syracuse, man. Yeah, I mean, he was a stud. There's no doubt about that. They got him going to the Rams. And so that questions, what are they thinking about Stet the Jet? Here's why I want to talk about quarterbacks, because I want to land on this guy just for a moment. Because if, in fact, this is true, and the way they're projecting these quarterbacks, I'm going to say it again. This guy was stupid, because I said it before. They've got the next quarterback as Quinn Ewers going in the 4th round to the Raiders. And if that is true, he's not even going to be a second-round pick. He's going to drop that far in the quarterback position, which is probably correct. I'm not saying that they have him wrong. But if this guy truly turned down $6, $7, $8 million to go to a college team to play one more year in college to become a 4th round pick, that was dumb. Stupid move. And then the next one,
happen.
Huh?
That's what's gonna happen. He's not better than Kyle McCord.
No, I just think it's dumb. I mean, why would you turn down that money? Anyway, I just think it's dumb.
Well, let's ask this real quick. You know that Arch is the guy, right? So your options really, if you're Quinn Ewers, your options are, where would I go in the portal, Or do I just go ahead and bank on the fact that my draft stock is as high as it's going to get and take your stab at the league? If you go somewhere else in the portal, you can get injured and ruin your shot at ever making it to the NFL. You can reduce your current draft stock to where it might be a last day guy, AB, right? Those are really your choices. It's not I could stay around, and he's going to make money either way. He's been making money.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? So he ain't worried about paying the light bill or buying groceries next week. It's really, for me anyway, if I'm Quinn Ewers, it's a question of do I take the best that I can get now, which is maybe a 4th round slot on an NFL team, and work my way into a better contract one day, or do I sit here and potentially lessen my draft?
Well,
stock?
I mean, the rumor was that there was a team that was willing to offer him $6 or $7 million to come play for him.
But again,
team.
that's just nickels and dimes to him at this point. I'm talking about the ultimate goal for these guys, right? Whether you're talking about is to go to the show. So you could reduce your importance to the show by playing even one more year for $7 million. Yeah, you got $7 million, and okay, you're hurt. And in our eyes, it's I'm hurt, but I never have to work.
Yeah,
I'll never get to play in the NFL because I wrenched my knee, right? But I'm set for life. Okay, cool. But that's not what drives these guys. What drives these guys is the ability to get to the NFL, to become QB1, to have a storied career, to get to the playoffs, to get to the Super. That's what's driving these guys.
And to add to your point, the quarterback class is only going to get better next year. I mean, you got Klubnik, Alar, Carson Beck. There's another top guy.
Carson Beck to the Titans next year.
Nussmeier.
Right.
Yeah, the quarterback class is better next year. And so I do agree. I don't think his upside is much higher than the 4th round guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe so. And look, you're right. I mean, I'm looking at it out of the lens of a dog, right? Not a pro athlete, right? So I mean, I get that, man. Making it, and maybe he wouldn't have made it. The next guy,
and real quick, I don't mean to belabor this point, and I'm not going to do that, but remind me. I believe Quinn Ewers was a 5-star coming out of high school.
He was a 5+ star. He was the number 1.
So here we've got, just kind of getting back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, and what I've talked about before with 5 stars, right? You don't know back then. You have no idea. Senior Chief said it on our last show. Alabama got in the rut of just going after the stars versus the player. Right. So again, with Quinn Ewers, here you are, a guy that was a 5+ star, right? And now we're talking about probably his best shot is a 4th round dude.
Yeah, and he was a 5+ star coming out of high school, only spending 3 years in high school. He forgave his senior year in high school.
Right.
The other thing is, and as the chicken was going through his reasoning, okay, and I don't disagree with your reasoning. Something else that popped in my mind was, look how many, the last 2 years, Quinn Ewers was the starting quarterback at Texas for 2 years. Look how many times he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He got hurt quite a bit. So that may be part of his thinking too, man, is like, if I really want to go to the big show, man, and play I need to do it now and not take a chance of having a career-ending injury playing one more year in college. So, the next guy spent almost as many years as Stetson Bennett in college, playing college football, but Dylan Gabriel, Oregon's quarterback, man, they got him going to Miami. It's not a bad spot for him to land, I don't think.
He plays just like Tua did at a much less level, and he's a left arm guy. So,
and
he's used to Florida. I believe he started out at UCF for his college career, so he's acclimated. He's now played in the East Coast, the middle of the country at Oklahoma, and now on the West Coast with Oregon. So might as well start all over and come back to Miami. Why not?
Absolutely. And then the last of the top 10 quarterbacks going into the draft or in this year's draft that they've got rated is the other quarterback that played in the national championship, which was Riley Leonard out of Notre Dame. He has a potential to do something. Do I think he's got the skills as some of these other guys? No. But the boy has this, right? And what did Gene Hackman say in the replacements? I need heart. I need heart. Boy has it. So I mean, the way that he fought back in that national championship was a very pretty beautiful thing to watch. So,
Very Shane Falco-esque.
very Shane Falco. Falco. So, but anyway, yeah, that's unless y'all got anything else you want to talk about the quarterback, that's all. I just wanted to go over those top 10. So, be interesting to see what happens.
Yep, we're ready for Thursday.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
right.
sure you are. I will be working. So, how about that? Y'all got any? B, you got anything?
I'm all barked out.
Okay, he's all.
Wow. Little Padawan.
Yeah. Take the pebble from my hand. Chicken, you got anything?
I am all crowed out.
Yes, you are, my friend. Look, guys, follow us on all the platforms, man. We're there. Like us. Look at our reels that B's been posting, man, all over Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, X Twitter.
Yep.
Follow us at Chicken and the Dog or email us at chickenanddog@gmail.com.
Subscribe.
Like, tell a friend.
Evangelize.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah.
Comment too. We'll interact.
That's right.
We'll comment back.
That's right. We sure will. All right, guys. Love you. Deuces.
Bye.